Hey guys, welcome back to the farm. Thanks for joining us on this beautiful Thursday evening. The camera's rolling. I just talked for about 3 minutes, realized I never hit play. But anyway, we recently moved our pigs to their newest paddock, likely going to be their last paddock. You guys that have seen our channel know that we've had our pigs within this woven setup for a while. A couple months. Really the idea was to clear that land out like they did exactly there. On to their next journey, this jungle of a mess here. The big difference is it's going to be a little bit of a different setup than the woven behind us. You can see our energizer. We are talking now out to the end of our pasture where we're at the high tensile fencing. So a little bit nerve-wracking, but we'll explain here in a second. The fence is hot. I'll show you kind of the top perimeter, which we did have to put in. I went with 3 strands, relatively low to the ground, but that's hot as well. So we'll show you our setup up top, how we kind of finish this thing off. And most importantly, the pigs are loving this new section.
I love this place.
They love it, yeah.
I see them get out. I see them. They can love to get out. I love it, chicken.
So the pigs are eating away. We just fed them their dinner. The ironic thing is, a lot of times I'm coming over here right now and they haven't had this type of forage in a little bit of time. So they're almost more interested in the natural forage than that of the feed. We probably could reduce their feed a little bit, but I'm not going to, keep them used to what they have going on. We're still sourcing that brewer's grain anyway, so you might as well use it. And I got an echo behind me, but anyway, we're gonna walk up around. I'll show you that top perimeter like we talked about. It was pretty interesting moving them over as well, so we'll talk about that here in a minute. All right, so we took a little bit of a detour, came right up through the paddock, but anyway, this is where our 3-strand tensile runs from this corner of our woven wire, the existing pasture, and we ran it out to the end of the perimeter. The interesting thing is we had to cut a little path through the tree line. We did have to go on almost a little bit of a curve, and I'll show you how we used the tree as a fence post down there. But you can see here, we got the 3 strands, we got it all tied together, so every wire here is hot. I'm a little bit nervous to run them on 3 strands like this. They should not be able to go over. Obviously, younger piglets could probably get through it, but I think with the size that we have going on right now, should be okay. We'll see. You can already see though, the pigs have gotten to work in here. They're rooting up everything because this was completely grown up. You couldn't even walk through. Obviously high grass, a bunch of weeds, things like that. So they're already making good progress throughout. Now the funny part is when I actually moved them over here, rather than taking them out and around, I figure for future purposes, why not put a gate right on the side of the fence? That way I can move them back and forth. So what we're doing here, we're working off of this post and our next metal post. I basically just cut the woven wire right out of here. Eventually we'll come back, we'll add another wooden post, I'll put a nice gate in, and then we'll be able to move them back and forth. So as soon as I went ahead and cut this wire, this was fair game to them. And it took, I'm not even kidding, probably about 15-20 minutes of me just standing here watching. Finally, one of the little ones came over. They were so trained to the electric that I had at the bottom of this woven wire, they would not go. They would stretch as far as they could into here to reach this grass, but they would not cross that mental barrier, I guess you would say at that point. Finally, once one went, they all started inching their way through. Ziggy and Betsy were definitely the most suspect on this move. They stood way in the background for a while. Finally, they came through as well. And now they're loving it over here, like I said. We'll head out to the end. We did use one of these spinning jennies to run the tensile out here. Things work great as long as you're on level ground to run longer sections of wire like this. So we'll walk out now and I'll kind of show you guys a little bit of the curvature that's in the fence. We definitely stress these timeless posts a little bit to see kind of what we could do here, and really the right way to do it. probably about right here, we would have put another wood post in to get that angle. But we did put a lot of tension on these. You can see this one, maybe not on the camera, but it's definitely facing a lot of tension, a little bit curved, but it's doing the job. It should hold up. Let me tell you guys, this was on Saturday when I drove these posts. It was bone dry before then. Driving these things in was a bear. We did talk about the tip a while back, and forgive me, I'm trying to not get poison ivy as I have shorts on tonight, but driving these things in was extremely difficult. If you use a metal post to get it going, it helps. It was still a bear. We only put 5 posts in here, and it took me every bit of 45 minutes. And needless to say, I was soaked by the time we were done here.
Daddy, there's berries. There was berries back there.
You see berries?
Yeah, I saw berries. There's some berries.
Remember though, we don't just eat the berries, right? No. Unless we know what they are. So there's a good look back at it. You can see we're definitely on a little bit of a curve till we get to that corner. You can see right here on this first post, the bit of tension that we have on it, that it's actually bent over a little. But that is kind of the beauty of these timeless posts, that they do flex. So I don't suspect that really ever being an issue as long as it doesn't pull from the ground. But so far so good. We'll keep an eye on it. I actually hear it popping here a little bit, so our fence may be grounded out somewhere in right down in this area. We'll take a look at that. So moving on, we're on post number 6 here, and that's all we did. And post number 6 is this guy right here. So we are at a spot where we're kind of the farthest out, and we have to bring it back through this little cutout. So we use this tree, which actually worked out perfectly. Basically just ran insulators, our staples, and you wouldn't know the difference. It's a same thing as a wood post. It's just living. So we tie in back here. As you guys can see, our last wooden post we did there, and that's essentially the extent of it. Now, when we got down to here, we could have tied right on. However, you never know when you want to disconnect this. So all I did was use an alligator clip here to tie this fence on. Obviously, if we move the pigs back out of here, there's really no reason to have this one hot. So that's why we did it like that. All right, so let's go ahead. I want to get a reading. It's something just a standard practice I do anyway. Earlier today I was out and I wasn't getting a very hot read on the perimeter fencing. So who knows what this is going to be. Hopefully it's hot enough to hold the pigs. But I got my tester here. Let's see what we got. And I would say that is definitely going to do the job. 7,800. That's going to be more than enough to hold these pigs. So that's a little reassuring, especially because I wasn't sure how the 3-strand would hold them in, but I'm sure they've already tested this. I'm sure they've already learned their lesson. So that is pretty much it, guys. I mean, this was a really simple job, only putting 5 posts into the ground and then running 3 strands. Probably only would have taken us about 2 hours had we not fought the concrete slab of the earth that we had this weekend. But such is life, trying to do this stuff in the middle of summer. So it took us a little bit longer than that. Job is done. Fence is nice and tight. It's hot. And I actually saw the pigs were already back in here even. So they're quickly working away in here, loving all this new fresh forage. So I would expect that they're going to start putting on some size as they have this extra supplemental nutrition as well. It'll be interesting to see kind of what we have going on. Full disclosure, and I've talked about our pig breed quite a bit, so I'm not going to go into it too much today, but the American Guinea Hog Hampshire cross that we're raising, we really love them as far as ease of working with them, and we've had good results as far as breeding, things like that. I'm just not sold on the size of the finished animal at this point. So we are going to closely monitor that as we kind of grow these out here and finish them out toward the end of the year. If they don't quite make the weight that I'm going for, and I'm not looking for anything crazy. I'm not looking for a 350 pound pig. I just want something, 225, maybe 250. That's going to give us nice size cuts of meat. If we can't get that, I may be changing it up a little bit going into next year. Ziggy, who definitely has more of the traits of the Hampshire, our male, our boar, we might keep him around and just try to bring in a sow from somewhere else of different genetics, maybe even a Hampshire. I haven't quite thought that one through 100%, really don't know which direction I want to go there, or do we just want to process them all off and start clean? All stuff to kind of think about as we kind of head into the end of summer, early fall, and get closer and closer to that harvest date. But we'll see. We'll keep you guys updated for sure on all of that. Having extra forage is definitely going to help them regardless if they get there or not. It's definitely going to help them put size on a little faster. So more to come on that, but I thought I'd give you guys a heads up on kind of where my thoughts are at this point in time. So in the meantime, we got their old paddock here. Give you guys a better look. Looks completely different than when we started here. You can actually see through it down to my trailer where I have the blue barrels down there. Very clean, very open compared to what we had going on. So we'll let this thing rest a while. We will not, I mean, we have it open, but the animals don't really come back here where I have that gate cut open. They're not really gonna come back in here. I do still have the shelter, which of course, you guys surprised pigs busted that up. They might go over in there, but that's about it. So we'll let that rest a while. This land probably really won't see animals again until next year, realistically. It's going to take a while for it to heal and kind of get some regrowth. Like I said, the pigs can still come back and forth for now until I put a gate, but there's really nothing over here for them. No reason for them to root any further. So it's pretty much in a resting and a recovery phase. Our old paddock, the first one that they were in, that one was fully regrown. The sheep were in there. They just grazed that down. Now the sheep are up behind us, as many of you know, but we'll talk about sheep another day. So anyway, guys, just thought we'd give you a quick update on our newest little project here. There's always projects going on, and I would be really interested to hear kind of what you guys think as far as different pig genetics. If you have any recommended breeds, anything like that. I do have a few in mind. Whether it's Berkshires or again the Hampshires, maybe a full Hampshire versus the cross, something like that. Tamworths apparently are pretty good, so a lot of options. But if you guys have anything you would highly recommend, shoot them my way. Be curious to hear what you guys have to say. As always, if you like what we're doing, please give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Questions, comments, drop them below. We're happy to hear from you guys. As always, thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your night.